Over the last several years, we have introduced to the market the Dan-Am Air aluminum piping system. And along with that, we had introduced some regulators that are a very important part of business today. Those regulators are vital to having the proper control for all of your tools. So let's take a look at some of those today. Our number one selling regulator for the last few years has been our 2-port point of use regulator. It comes with a great bracket that makes it super easy to mount to the wall. It also has 140 CFM, and that's really important because you never know what air needs you're going to have in the shop, and you certainly don't want to have an issue where you're having to compensate for low air volume by jacking the pressure up too high, which can change the way a spray gun performs by trying to raise the velocity. So with a regulator that has enough air volume, it can give you proper control. That one also has a 2-port manifold. It has 2 high flow couplers and easy to connect and disconnect high flow fittings. One other additional regulator that we've added is a dual manifold regulator, and where that's really important is on the input side of the regulator itself. It has 2 ports that you can connect to that are full line pressure. And after the regulator, you have 2 ports that are regulated. So you can then decide, what I need for high pressure and what I may need regulated. So it could be your spray gun and your breathing hood are on the regulated side. You hook up your blowguns if you're just blowing off parts and things to the opposite side. So that makes it really convenient so that you can choose what you need for pressure, high or low. Another versatile regulator that we have at Dan-Am and the Dan-Am airline is this common port regulator. And with a common port regulator, what this allows us for the piping to go in one end and come out the other at full line pressure. But we have up to 4 individual regulators on this that control only the drop below it. In those cases where you may want to use an impact wrench out in the shop, or you may have a gun washer that needs less pressure, or I may have, whether it's spray guns or any air pieces that you have, air pieces of equipment, can be connected and you can individually regulate each one. Now this is the quad port version, but we also have this in a single, dual, or triple. So 4 different versions, comes with the mounting hardware, makes it easy to mount to the booth and regulate the items in your shop as needed. In some cases, when you're plumbing your shop, you may not have the room to do a regulator with an air pipe that comes into the side or out the side of the regulator. It has to come straight down from above. And so Dan-Am has added a vertical point of use regulator that has a 2-port manifold on it that your plumbing simply goes into the top of the regulator. And then it has those 2-port manifolds also have couplers that angle out at a 45-degree angle each, so that it makes it easy to connect and disconnect any of your air tools. We also have another version of our Dan-Am point of use regulator to make it easier for the painter to choose which angle they want their couplers coming off the wall for easy connection. And it has a union placed in between the regulator body and the manifold so that you can swivel that to whatever degree angle that you'd like to make it easier for you to choose the angle that your hose sticks out from the booth wall or from the shop wall and reach the tools that you're using. The regulator I have in front of me is exactly like the one in the paint booth, but it is a version that we just came up with recently for use for demos. And so if you need to see a new regulator in your shop, it allows our representatives to come in and just literally magnet it to your wall. It has the same high flow couplers, high flow fittings, 2-port manifold, but it comes also with a supply hose, and it comes with a couple of adapters so we can adapt it to the size of the hose or the pipe that you may have in your shop, or just simply put a fitting on it and couple into your existing coupler and see how this high flow regulator works. So definitely a nice tool to have if you're not sure what you need for a regulator. It allows us to bring one to you and try it right in your shop.